in terms of ideas and inspiration and following those inspiration moments, I'd like to share with you today how they allow us to be connected to our talents and what we can do in the here and the present. So a week or two ago, I've lost track of the timeline. I did have a dream, a nighttime dream, in which there were these skyscrapers, and those that have that knew things, that learned, that had things to share were like stuck on the top of these skyscrapers, and they could see everything and everyone, and even and it's like all their knowledge was built and built and built and built, and they had this perspective of their knowledge, but it's like you couldn't hear or see what was on the other skyscraper, right? Because and then that person. So it's like these wonderful, beautiful, pillars and, moving up, and all these people with all these wonderful talents and experience to share, but they're all like trying to shout in the wind at each other, and there was no connection. So I had that kind of dream, and the recognition that there needed to be some kind of connection. There was more to the dream, but that's the largest gist of it, was being stuck like in the sky with all this knowledge and nowhere to get it out. So with that dream and that idea, I started calling people and sending emails, and the Activate Your Activism Day was born. And I printed off papers for you that are in the building that you can get. And I also posted on our webpage exactly what's on the paper in the blog section, so you can read it there too. But the idea is education for everybody and connecting the dots with that education. The idea that we're all one and deserve to connect in that way and recognize how we all are one, that we can have individual talents and education bases and ways in which we have been filled to act and move through the world. But it's also the idea that this is a chance to understand what everybody is about and what they have in common, and letting go of the ill will of feeling alone on your little skyscraper, and moving forward that with positive action and with connections, that we all have this ability to make a difference. James Freeman Clark, who I talked about last week, also spoke of education as part of our wholeness, our growing. We talked about growing up last week, and part of that growing up is education. So I'm going to read to you a little bit of James Freeman Clark's own words. And he says that the education is made up of 3 divisions: instruction, or knowledge communicated to the intellect; training, or exercising; and development, or moving on that and using that education, unfolding it in the full nature of each person. And when we not only know a thing and train on a thing, but then we do a thing, that's when it really becomes ingrained in us. He says the highest object of education is development. So drawing out and unfolding our whole nature, physical, intellectual, moral, and spiritual. And all things come easily when our souls are well developed. An intelligent mind will learn everything easily, judge everything correctly, develop the intelligence, arouse and quicken the understanding. So when we call upon education, when we unfold that in the wholeness of human nature, that growing up part brings us to our fullest and highest possibilities. He says this is a life work. We never stop learning. We never stop growing. And that to actively engage in more education and in these connections with other, and then using our education leads to success. and in our human life, and also bring success in other people's human life. There must be an earnest desire and purpose in our own soul to grow, to become larger, deeper, higher, nobler. That's from James Freeman Clarke, or paraphrase from James Freeman Clarke. So I want to share with you that in the for this day, that it's a blessing to have this building in order to bring people together like that. We have people that are working for all kinds of issues, from local farms to solar, to bringing spiritual centers together, to recognizing diversity in our social world, and also somebody that is willing to help answer questions about how policies and things work through our government, from the council level all the way up to the national level. So again, it's a beautiful way for everybody to get together and again know what we are all about and the things that we can work with together, instead of just what we're against.